billionaire's hideaway holds a birthday surprise.
Nicholas! Elizabeth! Is anybody there?
Had they been kidnapped? Had they been murdered?
I'm Christopher Mason. They say you can choose your friends, but you can't choose your family. Some pay scant regard to family ties. Ruthless relatives who cash in the bonds of kinship and destroy their own flesh and blood. Ah, families. One minute they're all having a jolly sing-song around the piano. The next, someone's orchestrating a murderous vendetta. And when you add serious money to the mix, things can go decidedly off-key, as one family finds out when their world comes crashing down.
After a furious hurricane, a millionaire's bungalow is still standing. But a friend senses something's not right.
It was very, very strange. The post had accumulated. The house was unlocked. The cars were there.
The house is like a sauna.
The heating was on very, very high.
Owners Nicholas and Elizabeth Newall have been out of contact for days.
Nicholas! Elizabeth! Is anybody there?
It's as if nature herself has swallowed the wealthy couple.
Elizabeth and Nicholas Newall just disappeared from the face of the earth. They were never seen again.
The tiny windswept island of Jersey, a remote British hideaway in the English Channel, straddling two cultures.
It's a kind of mixture of England and France. It's got beautiful rolling green fields, tiny little alleyways.
Jersey's best known for its brown cows, its beaches, and its billion-dollar bank accounts.
It's a tax haven.
Got a few $1 million to hide? Forget the Cayman Islands or the Bahamas. Jersey's the #1 offshore tax shelter on the planet. Roughly $5 billion per square mile is invested here. A treasure island for cashed-up British folk, like Nicholas and Elizabeth Newall.
They were from well-to-do, historic, moneyed Scottish industrial families, and they were both heirs to quite substantial sums of money. And they had a rather good life.
Nicholas Newall's family made their fortune making nuts and bolts for the shipping industry. With the sea in his blood and an inheritance to protect, Nicholas happily sets up home in this millionaire's tax haven in 1967, with his wife Elizabeth and their young sons Mark and Roderick. And home is no beach shack.
Crow's Nest is a beautiful house overlooking the Atlantic. It's really magnificent. I'm sure the property now is worth a fortune. They fell in love with Jersey, like a lot of people did, and they decided that the boys would grow up there.
And grow up they did. 20 years later, the Newall boys have left their island home behind. Mark becomes a high-flying bonds dealer in Paris, while older son Roderick's a military man, an officer in one of Britain's most prestigious regiments. In October 1987, the two sons make a surprise trip home for their mother's 48th birthday. They take Nicholas and Elizabeth to one of Jersey's finest restaurants, where they dine on lobster and lavish desserts. The champagne flows freely at the sumptuous dinner.
It's great to be all back in the one place again.
But this will be the family's last supper together.
And after that meal, Elizabeth and Nicholas Newall just disappeared from the face of the earth. They were never seen again.
Storm clouds are gathering over the tiny tax haven of Jersey. On October 15th, 1987, days after Elizabeth Newall's elaborate birthday bash, Jersey is hit by a hurricane. The island's grand mansions aren't the only casualties. Elizabeth and Nicholas Newall also seem to have gone with the wind.
The great storm disrupted everything. Trees were down, lines were down, communications were very, very bad.
As Jersey's wealthy elite survey the damage and start calling their insurance brokers, the Newalls are missing in action.
They had missed appointments for the doctor, for the optician.
People get concerned, you know, Jersey's a very small place.
Many assume the hurricane took their wealthy friends.
Nicholas! Elizabeth! Is anybody there?
There were people who thought that they would have gone walking on the cliffs and been swept off during the storm.
Jersey's rugged hills are riddled with abandoned World War II bunkers.
And every now and then people would go into them and get stuck, so they thought maybe they had gone missing in one of those.
A meticulous search turns up nothing. But Jersey police do find a fascinating plot in the Newalls' finances. In the past year, their assets have also started to disappear.
I think it's fair to say that they had run into financial difficulty with their investments.
A year earlier, Nicholas and Elizabeth sold off the family mansion to close friends.
To freedom?
To freedom.
The couple moved into a modest bungalow.
If you make the contrast between the two properties of this stunning residence at Greve de Lec and the rather run-down, grim house, is really quite staggering, the contrast.
Why the humiliating downgrade? It seems a series of bad investments meant the Newalls' wealth was draining away. Could this have anything to do with their disappearance? Perhaps the couple simply boarded their yacht and sailed away to a new life.
They've either done a runner or it's a financial issue.
They thought maybe they had faked their own disappearance. In mysteries, people have disappeared sometimes for an insurance claim.
Could it be an insurance scam? Sons Roderick and Mark can offer no clues. They'd flown back to London the day after Elizabeth's birthday dinner. And now, as the mystery deepens, the boys return to Jersey to defend their parents' name.
There's absolutely no reason whatsoever for my parents to go without leaving word.
After a series of dead ends, everyone on this Jersey shore is left wondering, did nature really take the Newalls? Were they even dead? Local police want answers, so they call in forensic investigators from Scotland Yard. And as they comb the storm-damaged bungalow, they find the first clue.
All around the fireplace, there were tiny, tiny, dark brown stains and marks.
After they'd ripped up the carpets and found that there was still blood underneath the carpets, then that was the scene, and the thing was treated entirely differently after that.
Bloodstains. And not just around the fireplace.
They were all over the shop, all over the house. Blood had seeped in between the parquet flooring and into the underlay of the house.
Blood in the living room matches Nicholas Newall's. In the bedroom, a positive match for Elizabeth. Something terrible has transpired.
A sustained episode of violence had taken place in the house. And that was when the nature of the case transferred from being a missing persons case into a double murder.
A Jersey court declares Nicholas and Elizabeth Newall officially dead. Their two grieving sons inherit what's left of their fortune. Cautious Mark, with his business acumen, invests his inheritance. And Roderick? He buys a yacht to sail around the world, intent on washing away his tragic loss.
He said, look, I'm just going to have a fresh break, a new beginning. I'm going to turn the page with all of this and start a new life.
As the boys console themselves with what's left of the family fortune, investigators ramp up their search. And it pays off. In dense woodland near the Newalls' former mansion.
Suddenly we're looking around and there's the remnants of a fire.
In the ashes of a bonfire, more intriguing clues.
Spectacles that have been prescribed to Nicholas.
Nicholas Newall's glasses and Elizabeth Newall's handbag. Police dig up the site, expecting to find human remains. They find nothing. Without bodies, the case drags on for 5 years. But over time, more family secrets bubble to the surface.
I think the parents were, like a lot of British people, a little bit cold and remote.
There wasn't a lot of love shown there.
It seems Mark and Roderick Newall had a rocky relationship with their parents. Mark's childhood friend Nick Simon says the Newall boys were banished to boarding school at a young age.
I think from the age of 8, quite sort of harsh upbringing, you know. So 8 years old is quite young to go to school by yourself.
Did the boys have a vendetta against their parents? They were the last people to see them alive. One person who doesn't trust them is Nicholas Newall's brother, Stephen.
Uncle Stephen, Nicholas's identical twin brother, always suspected the boys. Suspicions are not enough. He needed hard evidence.
Stephen is approached by police with a plan. He arranges a rendezvous with Roderick Newall at a Scottish hotel, with cops recording every word.
My brief to Stephen had been, don't, under any circumstances, lead him down the path because this will end up inadmissible. Let him do the talking.
And Roderick has plenty to talk about. In a cozy hotel in Scotland, 5 years after his parents' murder, Roderick Newall peers into the face of his dead father.
Uncle Stephen, Nicholas's identical twin brother.
Roderick has something to get off his chest.
I killed them. This most compelling confession to double murder. He knows exactly where his parents are buried.
You don't talk about bodies being found easily unless you know where they are.
Roderick has no idea his uncle is wired, and police are standing by to arrest him. After pouring his heart out, he quickly wraps it up.
Roderick composes himself and then takes his leave after admitting, it would appear, to killing his parents.
After the meeting, Roderick uses his military training to disappear.
I don't know how it happened, but Roderick, a bright lad, he gave the police the slip, and he sped off into the night.
Roderick takes flight on the high seas, sailing his yacht into international waters. Jersey police launch a worldwide manhunt.
Interpol, GCHQ, the spy headquarters, the FBI, everybody's looking for Roderick.
With Roderick on the run, cops contact his brother Mark in Paris, but he's keeping tight-lipped.
Mark, meanwhile, had not said a word to anybody.
A few weeks later, Roderick's yacht is spotted off Gibraltar, a British outpost in the Mediterranean Sea. Police use the Royal Navy to set a trap, waving him down for a routine customs check.
He then got into a little rowing boat. He climbed up to get onto the ship itself. On the way up, a member of the Royal Gibraltar Police said to him, "Boy, have we got a surprise for you.
After years of intrigue, Jersey's most famous murder case is about to be solved. Roderick Newall is charged with double murder. When he arrives back on Jersey, Roderick tells all, revealing a sorry tale of greed played out the night of Elizabeth Newall's birthday dinner.
After the meal, they went back to the house. There was some more drinking apparently that went on, although apparently that night Mark didn't join in the drinking.
Mark returns to his apartment on the island, leaving Roderick alone with his parents, a decision that might have cost them their lives.
Roderick says that an argument developed during the meal, and then the argument continued afterwards at the family home.
Roderick is furious that Nicholas and Elizabeth have sold the family mansion.
And now you're squandering our inheritance.
I am your father, and you will show me some respect.
I have no respect for you.
Roderick flipped. He had a history of flipping. He was a hothead. He was a bit of a wild boy. He had a temper.
He's also trained in martial arts and grabs a set of Japanese rice flails, or nunchucks.
In the army, Roderick learnt every aspect about what it entails to be an officer, which of course involves training how to kill people. But it was certainly a very violent death. There were lots of blood all over the shop, unfortunately.
After attacking his parents, Roderick says he passed out. He's been drinking heavily. Only when he wakes does he realize what he's done.
Roderick can't even remember the details, but something went down. 2 people were dead.
He calls the only person left to turn to, his younger brother Mark.
Hello? I killed him. What do you mean? I remember hitting him, but I don't remember hitting her. Are you sure that they're dead? Yes, I'm sure!
He had to weigh up in 1 second the loyalty to his parents and the loyalty to his brother.
Calm down. I'll have to kill myself. No! I'm coming over now. Don't do anything.
Mark doesn't call the police. He helps with the cover-up.
They were tied and wrapped in plastic sheeting. They were transported in a van, which they hired, and they were still in the clothes from the dinner party.
The boys take their mother and father to where it all began, near their childhood home of Crow's Nest.
And there, they buried their parents and threw them into these graves, covered up, and off they went. And that's where they languished for some 5 years or so.
The brothers then return to the bungalow to scrub the crime scene.
A major attempted cleanup took place at the house.
Come on, leave it. It's good enough. Let's go. Leave it!
The heating must have been turned on to dry out not just the carpet, but the bed linen, which had been washed, but in a very kind of young manish guy sort of way. It hadn't been properly done.
They also turn up the heat by building a bonfire to burn the remaining evidence. After Roderick's detailed confession to the cops, his brother Mark finally admits he helped dispose of his parents' bodies. Roderick directs detectives to the burial site, where the bodies of Nicholas and Elizabeth Newall are recovered. In August 1994, Roderick Newall pleads guilty to double murder and receives 2 life sentences. Mark pleads guilty to being an accessory to murder twice and receives 2 concurrent 6-year terms. But good breeding and good behavior pay dividends, even in prison. After just 20 months in Her Majesty's custody, Mark Newall is released. His brother, the killer, he's a model prisoner and is set free 12 years into his life sentence.
And so they're out and leading their lives, maybe under new identities, anonymously. But who can put that sort of event just behind you?
Family can bring us together, but it can also tear us apart. Roderick Newall's greed sparked a storm of terror. Both favored fortune over family, but in the end, they too were betrayed by their own flesh and blood. Till next time we meet behind mansion walls, I'm Christopher Mason.